Palmerston, so remote it wasn't even in the right place on world maps until 1969. In the second part of this complete guide to the Cook Islands, we're venturing north to islands where visitors are a rarity and life has changed little for decades. Islands like Penrhyn, just a few degrees below the equator, and Suwarrow, population 2, which is a real-life treasure island. Welcome back to paradise. Palmerston is the last and most northerly of the southern group, and it's entirely populated by the descendants of one Englishman, William Masters from Leicestershire, and his 4 Polynesian wives. The home he built from shipwreck and driftwood timbers back in the 1860s stands to this day. Just 63 people live on the island now, but there are thousands of Masters' family around the world. And, thanks to their ancestor, the island is their property. Queen Victoria granted William a lease on Palmerston in 1891, and the British Parliament amended a law in 1954 saying that this outpost of England is theirs in perpetuity. Remoter still are the 6 islands that comprise the northern group. Only 3 are accessible by air, flights are few, and tourists a rarity. But these are the stuff of dreams. Many say Manihiki is the most beautiful of all the Cook Islands. 40 tiny islets encircle a 4-kilometre wide lagoon, which is also the source of the Cook Islands' greatest asset, black pearls. Floating farms like this can produce up to 250,000 pearls a year, although the industry is at a low ebb at the moment. Penrhyn is another pearl-producing island and the most remote of the Cooks. It's just 9 degrees below the equator, nearly 1,200 kilometres north of Rarotonga, and closer to Fiji than the capital island. Some of the finest Rito hats are woven on the island, each one unique and using skills handed down through generations. Join any church service in the islands and you'll see such hats in abundance. Suwarrow is the least populated of the Cooks, just a caretaker and his wife, and even they move out in the cyclone season. But in the 1950s and 60s the island was home to just one man. Tom Neal was a sailor who persuaded the government to let him realise his dream and lived alone there for 15 years. Today, Suwarrow is a national heritage park with an abundance of sea and bird life. Pukapuka has a thriving population of more than 500, its own unique language, and has been unchanged for decades. But in 2005 it was feared the island would have to be abandoned after it was hit head-on by the most severe category of cyclone. Virtually everything was wiped out, and the islanders are still rebuilding. Tiny Nassau, just a few miles away, is a bit like a suburb of Pukapuka. It was also hit by the cyclone, but one writer described it as a small Garden of Eden. Rakahanga completes the northern group. A few outsiders visit, but an Australian author who lived there in the 1940s summed it up in a way that seems to say much about the unique quality and appeal of the Cook Islands. He said, "If there is a place where a man can grow old contentedly, it is on some quiet, drowsy atoll, where today is forever and tomorrow never comes."